crafty friends. Today is Monday, March 14th, 2022, and we are going to have ourselves a fun old creative escape right here, right now. So thank you for popping in and joining me. Please leave a comment so I know you're here. As well, we can then do some banter and some interaction as I'm showing you our card tonight. And if you're watching the replay, please also let me know that you've watched. I always like to know who my audience is out there. And if you have any questions, you can get in touch with me. This here, the creativeinkster.stampinup.net, that's my website, not my blog, but my shopping site. And there's also general information and projects there. The host code is here, and I usually put it up at the top, but I rarely make reference to it, so I thought I would. Hi, Brenda. The host code is these 8 digits here. If you are in the need for something and want to place an order but don't have a demonstrator of your own right now, then I would welcome to have you use this host code. I'll mail you a catalog, and I send you a small gift in the mail for using the host code on your order. Okay, let's look at our card. Let's see what we're doing tonight. So this card here is actually my swap card that I'm using with my team. Often I leave this a week or so later, but I did just pop them in the mail to them because I wanted to show you how to do this fun technique and with some blending brushes or a blending brush. Now, a few things about blending brushes. Number one, it's best if you have one for certain color schemes. So one for pinks, one for light colors, and then one maybe for your darkers or your greens and purples and that kind of thing. They come in a 3-pack. You don't need one for every color. Nobody has one for every color. Well, I don't anyways. Hi, Vicki. And it's not always recommended that you wash them because you have to kind of reprime them. You have to fill them with ink again. So, you know, not necessarily washing them each time, but that's what I'm going to show you what I've done here just to make it. And I've lasted with 3 since they came out. So that's what, 1.5 years, and it's worked fine for me. Okay, that aside, our theme for this swap card, that's my team swap card here, was to use a stamp set that you've never used or that you haven't used in a long time. So this stamp set, when I started on the weekend to make this card, had never been inked. So how long have I had it? Longer than I care to talk about. So it's from the annual catalog. Let's get it primed up here. Put this on the block. This is the large floral image. And I used Happy Birthday from this stamp set as well. I like this one. It's quite nice with 2 different fonts on it. So I'm making a set of birthday cards. There is a thank you, hello you. Some friendships are just meant to be, and a few other nice greetings in this. You could color this in too. I'm going to show you just what I'm doing here with this. So what you need is 1 ink, 1 blending brush, and over here, here's the paper supplies that you need. I want to keep this so you can see it. They're all white, or you could use vanilla, but they're all a standard white, just to keep it really simple. So here is a card base. I did it in this way. My original card actually opens this way, so it's 8.5 by 5.5, or 11 by 4.25. Same difference, card base. And then 1 piece that I've embossed. And I've used the animal print, which you would think doesn't really go with flowers, but it's just got enough of an uneven pattern everywhere that isn't floral to kind of show this off nicely. And this piece is 4 inches by 5.25. And then the piece, hi Debbie, that I'm going to do the stamping on is 3 3/4 by 5. So they all just nest lovely together like that. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to make 2 versions tonight. I'm going to do some heat embossing. So here's my Versamark ink. I take my large floral stamp. I'm going to do both stamps one at a time. I'm going to be adding my embossing powder. So before I get too far along, I'm going to show you what I do with my embossing powders. So our neutrals and metallics. So neutrals, there are 3, basics are actually called 3 basic pots of this that come together in one collection, and then 3 metallics. And what I do is I put them in these sandwich size Rubbermaid containers or dollar store containers. And then I can use these little spoons to spread it on and not deal with that little pot and constantly changing out the my little container or coffee filters or whatever other people use. So that's what I invested in. And, you know, they're pretty cheap at the dollar store. So I'm going to ink this up. I'm going to lay this pretty much in the center of the 3 3/4 by 5. No, that isn't the right size. I'll get the size in 1 second. So then I'm going to grab my white embossing powder, and I'm going to sprinkle it generously and then tap it back into the pot. So with heat embossing and the powder embossing, once you get it to this point where you've used your Versamark and you've put your powder on it, it can sit to be heat embossed for quite a while, because I've done it where I've made 50 and laid them all out to this point. But it's getting the powder onto the Versamark that is the important trick. Now, back to the size. This is actually, I've misspoke. It's 3.5 by 4 3/4. So it's that little bit smaller so that you can see the animal print embossing. Okay, then I'm going to take my greeting and I'm going to ink it up with Versamark ink. And I'm going to put it down the bottom, try and get it straight as I can. And then I'm going to take my embossing powder and sprinkle it. And I just flick the paper like this, and that gets it off. Now, if you do find you have a little piece where you don't want it to, you just take your thumb or a cheap little thin paintbrush. Now, we used to sell a product called the Embossing Buddy, and many people that I know still have it. I have mine somewhere, but we don't sell it anymore, so I don't demonstrate it. But that helps keep just the embossing where you want it. So then I would take this over to my table, and I would go ahead and get the heat embossing tool out. I don't want to do that tonight. I've already prepped 2 of them, so I don't have to do that. Okay, so we're just going to fast forward through the magic of television. Don't you love that term? And we have our card base in white. Very nice crisp white. And then we have the embossed, the dry embossed layer. Sorry, I'm finding a little bit of the paper, of the powder on my table here. I have my embossing in larger containers too, yes. Yeah, those coffee container filter things, that was not going to work well for me. I just know myself. Okay, and then I've got my animal print one, and then this is the piece I'm going to work on. So what I found was I pulled in some scrap paper, and here's the one that I did on the weekend. Actually, the bunch of them that I did on my weekend. So I started using this for the messy work, and then I went to a clean piece of paper once I was working with the already colored pieces, because I didn't want to transfer the ink from this piece onto my others. It's something like that happens so easily. All right, so this time I'm using Highland Heather. I thought about Gorgeous Grape, but I think it's a little bit too dark. So you just, I saw someone holding this down in their hand like this, and the second and third fingers and the thumb kind of holding the around part of the brush, and I felt that gave a whole lot more control than trying to hold it this way. So that's what I've been doing, using it. So I'm going to just kind of ink it up, and what you'll find when you go to press it down is as soon as you put it down, you get a blob, and it can be a really dark blob. So you want to start off the page and come into the paper so that you don't get the blob right on there, okay? So I'm going to put a generous amount on here, and I'm going to hold it with my left hand and the brush with my right, and I'm just going around in a circular motion. Oh yeah, baby powder and cornstarch, I think is what I've heard it's made with, Brenda. Absolutely. An old sock, that's a great idea. Probably why we don't sell it anymore, honestly. So you just keep twirling your paper around and coming in from the outside, and you're going to work it in to get it as dark or as light as you want it to be. If you get too dark a spot, then go over it a couple times to spread it out a little bit. You can go right on top, and then knowing that it'll be a little bit darker, but it's going right on top of the embossing powder, which we're going to wipe off afterwards. So as you get to the center, you can go directly on top of it. Kind of gives a marbled look, you know? But you can make it as light as or as dark as you want. Now this one was Flirty Flamingo, and it's pretty dark. I did a couple of them. The ones that I did that I gave to the recipients were a little bit lighter. So, anybody used blending brushes? I think you could do the same basic idea with a sponge dauber, but I like the unique look that you get with the blending brush. So I've got a little bit darker spot there. I'm not concerned about that. I might put a couple of embellishments around it. So you work it in, make it however depth of color you would like. And you might get some on your fingers, so if you're not slipping over to the bathroom to wash your hands, have some baby wipes or a cloth handy. Okay, I think that's as dark as I really want that to go. So now I'm going to grab a piece of paper towel, or you could use a Kleenex. I don't have a tissue right handy. And basically all you want to do is wipe on that white embossed area. This kind of wipes off some of the excess of the color. I didn't get too much coverage on there. And just kind of whitens it up and brightens it up a little bit. Okay, and I think like I need to get a little bit darker over here to balance off this darker piece I have at the top. There we go. Just like wordsmithing, going over it and over it and making it till I get it to the point I like it. Okay, so then I'm going to move my messy paper over and pull my other pieces back in. Check my fingers, make sure I don't have anything that's going to transfer. Alrighty, and this is, I didn't use any dimensionals on these. You most definitely could, but yes, the sponge daubers are harder to use, and the brushes, I agree, I have arthritis in my hands as well, and this definitely helps. So I'm going to use the liquid glue. I have my Stampin' Seal out, but I see that I don't have a lot left in it, and the refills are across the room, so I'm just going to use my liquid glue. I really prefer liquid glue. I like it specifically when I'm putting a layer like this onto dry embossed, because there's often little nooks and crannies in the dry embossed where I want it to fill in. So I'm just going to line it up, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to press it from the back. This helps too if you have arthritis in your hands. It's just a little bit easier and keeps you from getting any more ink on your hands than you need to. And then this will go on here. Once again, you could pop it up with dimensionals, you could add ribbon. I'm choosing instead to add a bunch of embellishments versus ribbon this time. Plus we don't really have any, we have a gorgeous grape, but I'm all out, so I don't have a matching Highland Heather ink, ribbon rather, for it. So there's that. And then I love these. They've been on the back order list for a little while, so I'm sorry if you're looking for iridescent rhinestones and can't get them just now, but they just really take on a lot of the color of what you're working with. So nice. They're pink and yellow tones and purple, just perfect for this, and sparkly. So I'm just going to grab them with my scissors, and the way that I put this on was sort of one down here. I'll be honest, I really like the smaller dots. Look at me hiding my little mistake there. The smaller, when these come in 2 and 3 different sizes, I really love the smaller ones. So when I'm doing other projects with people who want the bigger ones, well then it works out perfectly, because I'll put those on my class projects, and people love the nice big jewels. That's what I kind of tend to do. Should I put this one maybe here? There we go. All right, so that is a very simple, not too many layers, but a wow card. So let's do another one. This time I'm going to use Daffodil Delight. I picked Coastal Cabana as well. I don't know. What do you think? Why don't I throw it out there? I'll give everybody a few seconds to weigh in and let me know what you think, which one it should be. Don't worry, the other one I will do off camera, and my fold is this way this time, and I'll do the other one on the piece that I stamped and put powder on but need to go ahead and heat emboss yet. So weigh in, let me know what you're thinking. I know there's like a 20 or 40-second delay. I'll get this piece glued down. Tomorrow night I have a treat for you for Technique Tuesday. I'm going to show you how to make the wiper card. It was a card I've done recently, like 3 or 4 times. Coastal, 1 vote for Coastal. And I love the wiper card. It's so cute, and it's perfect for the waves of the ocean. So if I'm using yellow, this one has a little bit pink on it, left over from the weekend. That's not too bad. I could do that. Or I have a third one over here. CC, Coastal Cabana. All right, let's go Coastal Cabana. I'll open this guy up, get the scratch paper in. I'm running out of scratch paper areas with no ink on them. But that's how I use these over and over and over again. All right, grabbing the Versamark. Going to ink up our stamp. You can do this with any floral stamp you have. I was just glad to get this actual, oh, goodness me, it's already done. I was just so in the mood of going from scratch. It's already been done. So let's grab the ink. Just do it in a circular motion. And this one says thank you. Okay. There we go. And it has all these little hairs, like zillions. Like, honestly. I'd be curious to know how many are in these. There's so many of them. And that's how this is so poofy and works. And the color gets inside. So imagine if you did this with navy or misty moonlight or, heaven forbid, blackberry bliss. You'd end up with it being quite dark. It'd be really stunning. I had a little accident with blackberry bliss today. At my workplace, I invited a couple of employees to stamp with me. I took some paper pumpkin kits in. One was the December one, which I had never done up with the puns, and that was early espresso, I think. And then the other one was the Hope one from the summer. I had never done it up, and it had blackberry bliss. Well, I'm telling them to be careful as they're using it. They don't want to get their ink where, on their project where they don't want it to show up. And what do? Stick my hand right in the ink pad. So I've got blackberry bliss up underneath my nail. I'm telling you, the woes of a stamper. I said, don't do this. You don't want to do this. It's going to take a couple of days of washing my hair before it's all going to come out. I'm sure of it. So this one seems like it needs to add a lot more. Could be that I need to re-ink the ink pad. I hadn't thought of that. That could be it. This would look nice in Pool Party too. A similar tone. But wouldn't this be cool if you did a bunch of panels like this and framed them? That would look really neat. Okay, so there's my Coastal Cabana. I'm going to do a little bit more. I think, before I call it done. Ooh, careful. Okay. And then I'm going to grab the tissue and we're going to wipe like this and just let that pop up a little bit. So it's really basically a resist technique. A little bit more came off this time. Alrighty, get this messy piece out the way, and then just want to wipe my fingers off. Make sure, see, there's my Blackberry Bliss moment underneath my nails. Here's the piece I've put together. Then we're going to glue this down. And this card will be done. If I do the third one, that'll give me a set of 4. And I think that'll make a really nice gift. I've been buying up acetate boxes and packaging up our cards. So our acetate boxes are $10.50 or $10 for 10 boxes, and they each hold up to 5 full cards and their envelopes. What a great way to share your creations with other people. I'm telling you. Grab my scissors. Now, I was wondering how well these were going to work on this color. Oh yeah, they work because they go with everything. Now, if you want to make sure they're going to stay really, really well, if you're worried about that, you can always add a little dab of liquid glue to the back of your embellishment and then pop it down in place. My friend Marcy Denning swears by that. Okay, and see, they don't look the same at all. Look at how these ones look so much more pink, and these ones take on that hue of the Coastal Cabana. I love it. All right, so there's 2 thank yous and a happy birthday. Well, thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me tonight. I hope this gives you a little something to play around with, an idea to work with. And tomorrow night I'll be back at 7 for our Technique Tuesday. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great evening.